Morning, everybody. Let's talk about some new arrivals. This is the free Toyota Camry that me and Jesse got after he wrecked his Civic. We sold this to our brother John and his wife Maria, and they actually drove it for what, a month or so, and it had some wiring issues and they just got tired of dealing with it. So sadly, this car is here. It's meeting its end, unless someone wants to rescue it. We took the wheels and tires off, but we have another set of wheels and tires to put on it. The engine still runs, but the battery would drain overnight and go dead, so there was a wiring issue. Personally, myself, if you needed a good beater car, I was going to go buy one of those big old battery shutoff switches and mount it to the damn fender right here so you could get out and kill the power if you didn't want to go through the wiring to find out where the drain was. The Jeep Grand Cherokee has been here for a while. And you know, I never figured out what was the issue with it. The Mercedes van you have all seen, it's still here. This is the black Honda Civic from the other side of the field. It's about to go down here into the parts area to get picked. We were trying to sell it as one solid unit. All it needed was a new head gasket, and it still did run, but it's been here too long now. Now we've got a Hyundai. I don't even know what kind of Hyundai. What is this? What do they call this? A cell or whatever, maybe? I don't know. Accent, that's what I was looking for, but I'm not sure. This is it. I don't know what it needs. It doesn't actually appear to be in that bad a shape. But here it is. Got some decent looking front tires on it. Again, I have no idea what it needs. Then we've got a Buick Rendezvous. It's pretty trashed. Whoa, check out the glass. It busted, but it didn't fall out. Ain't that pretty neat? I like the steering wheel though. Over there is a Ford F-150 with no motor or transmission, but the body is super straight on it, so we're gonna hang on to that one. Those F-150, even though it doesn't have an engine or a transmission, people buy parts from those things all the time. The bed on it and everything's in really good shape. Tail lights, tailgate, doors, door panels, the bench seat, all that stuff. You gotta save. And it's about good timing because we just hauled out a bunch of F-150s from our stockpile of F-150s. And over here, let's run down the list real quick. Once again, they've been processing these and I haven't been paying attention, but I do know a few things. For example, this white Honda Accord, it does run, the head gasket's blown. And it looks like someone has purchased the distributor off of it. This Crown Victoria, if you're a long-time subscriber, you're gonna remember we had this car about a year and a half to 2 years ago, and it needed a water pump. A guy purchased it, put a water pump on it, drove it, then the oil filter came loose. That's what he said. I think the oil filter adapter plate, and Crown Victoria people are gonna know what I'm talking about. The 4.6 has a little adapter plate that bolts to the side of the engine block to screw the oil filter on. I think that started leaking. And anyway, it dumped all the oil out the engine and it killed it. He said it dropped some, or the rockers jumped off, and then when he put it all back together, he still couldn't get it to run. But this one had the cleanest dang interior when we sold it. That it's dirtier now, but it was, I mean, absolutely gorgeous on the inside. And the car had 90,000 miles when we sold it. It's now got 112, which is such a shame. I hate that. These 4.6, this modular 4.6 will run forever. This car has died way too early. And even though it's a little grungy looking now, to the right person, it would still be worth putting an engine in. I mean, it's with 112,000 miles, your suspension, the body, the brakes, the brake lines, fuel pump, tanks, wiring, electrical, and transmission, all that only has, you know, 112,000 miles. So with a good used replacement engine, you're gonna get another 10 years out of this thing. But that's not gonna happen. This is our Cadillac. I haven't got to play with this one yet either. This has the awesome 4.9 V8. This is not a North Star. This is by far one of my much more favorite Cadillac engines. These do not blow head gaskets, and they seem to be pretty well built. You see more of these with a transmission problem than you do a bad engine. Sorry, this mud's just like soup. But here she is. We've got a Dodge work van, another Dodge work van. That's the Ford Focus wagon. It did not get sold, so it's about to be crushed. We've got a Honda Accord. This one also has a blown head gasket, but this is a more rare one. This is a 2-door 5-speed car with a blown head gasket. We've got the white BMW, 5 Series. It was Richard, Mr. Bridges, the guy that brings in a lot of our stuff. He's the one that, if you remember, he towed in the Toyota Solara that still ran. That was Richard. Richard brings us a lot of cars. This was actually one of his personal cars. He had 2. He purchased this one for parts for the other one, used the fuel pump and a couple of the miscellaneous interior pieces, and didn't need it anymore. It sat around and he just got tired of looking at it, so he brought it to us. So technically it needed a fuel pump to run. He said if you poured gas into it though, it would fire right up. And this is just kind of where it sits now. We've got one of those Hyundai SUVs, Santa Fe or whatever. I don't know anything about it. We have another Monte Carlo SS. You remember we already had one of these. It was rescued by Jamie. He took it home to put a new engine in it. This one has some prominent bumper damage on the front. It's been put back together with little metal ties. 3800 V6, probably Series 2, I think. And I am just sinking into the mud, trying to find a sturdy spot to... Ugh. There we go. This one has not fared as well as the other Monte Carlo that we got in. Clearly. But nonetheless, still a Monte Carlo. Does it have an oil change sticker? It does. Next due date was in 2014 at 189,000 miles. So 3 years, we'll go ahead and say that it's probably over the 200,000 mark now. We have another Ford Focus. We have a Buick LeSabre or Park Avenue. One of the two. We actually were trying to hold on to that one for a while because it did run. but the motor was ticking really bad. It probably had an oil pump failure. I'm sinking into this mud. Oh crap. Probably had an oil pump failure, but it never did blow up. And here, this one will probably get a video all on its own because we have keys for this one. I think this one's going to be a runner. This is a 3800 V6 car. It looks like it should have the 34, but it's got a 38. I thought this was going to be old enough to have a 3.4. T-top car, automatic, completely shattered dash because Camaro. Got the original GM floor mats in it. This supposedly had a blown head gasket, but the oil is super clean. The antifreeze is a little low. I'm thinking it did the intake manifold gaskets. I think it blew those out instead. We have yet to have a chance to try to start it to find out for sure. So I don't know, but we're gonna try to get to this one. It's like I said, typical busted up Chevrolet Camaro dash. Clear coat's fading on that little roll pillar there, but it's not the worst one I've ever seen. You could totally put this thing back on the road. Looks like it's gonna need a tail light. I mean, if you're a real Camaro enthusiast, then again, if you are, you probably don't want the 6-cylinder one. But you know, people always argue about that whole deal right there with the 6-cylinder. It's like, why would they make a quote-unquote muscle car, performance vehicle, and then option it with a smaller, underpowered engine? You know, not everybody wants all that motor in front. There's a lot of people that just want the look of the car. They're just happy to have something that looks like that. And this goes back for years. I mean, they've been doing this for decades. They'll build a hot rod muscle car and then option it with a smaller engine. Mustang even did it with 6 cylinders. I mean, Mustang started out back in the day with some 6 cylinders, so of course that was a lot different from modern day. But you know, I mean, I had a Fox body with the turbo 2.3 in it, and it was a 4-cylinder 5-speed car. Not everybody just wanted that 302. And you see a ton of those Mustangs out there with that 2.3 and that automatic. So I mean, the Fox body sold well in that generation. This is a PT Loser. Someone asked about it in the last video. The engine's torn apart. It's not going to run, but it's pretty clean. Everything's there. I guess I'm sure I'm not going to put it back together, but you know, I guess somebody could. And I guess that about wraps it up for new arrivals right down through here. That's going to be the end of it. You want to see anything in depth, drop a comment down below and let us know. Like I said, I'll try to get the camera on the Camaro when we go to start it up. And the Honda Accord, it did run, but head gaskets are blown. Same story with the white one. The white one that's actually already over there getting processed.